Hello everyone, welcome to November! So today we're going to be creating my November TBR. I'm going to show you guys everything that I plan on reading in November. Now, I have a lot of shiznit here, so am I going to finish these? Probably not. But here's to crossing my fingers and hoping that I do. So we're gonna get started with the books that I'm going to be reading for reading vlogs, then the books that I'm just gonna be reading for fun, and then we'll get into the mangas and the graphic novels that I plan on reading in November. November is all about like the cozy vibes, you know what I mean? So I really want to read a lot of cozy fantasy because I found cozy fantasy last year in 2023 and I found that I really love cozy fantasy, so I'm going to be reading a lot of that towards the end of the year. So let's go ahead and show you my cozy fantasy TBR that I plan on reading. This is also going to be a reading vlog that I'm going to have coming out at the very end of the month where I read cozy fantasy. So let me show you what's on my cozy fantasy TBR. So the first book is The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean. I'm probably going to read this one either on my Kindle or on Audible because this is a fairy loot edition, so I don't want to damage this at all. I want to keep this nice and beautiful. This is a sapphic romance about a woman that runs a magical zoo. There's a lot of magical animals, magical creatures that are in this zoo. Like we have phoenixes, we have dragons, we have griffins, we have ducks. I don't know, we have like all these magical creatures, right? And so I guess the zoo's going down, and so she has to enlist the help of a rival. This is cozy, this is nice and fun and sapphic, so I'm going to be reading this one for the cozy fantasy reading vlog. Next book that I'm going to be reading is Can't Spell Treason Without Tea by Rebecca Thorne. It's a cozy tale of mishaps, mysteries, and a murderous queen throwing the realm's biggest temper tantrum, while the other two women discover just what they mean to each other and the world. So I believe also a cozy sapphic fantasy. We have a lot of sapphic romance actually this month. I'm just in the mood for that. Next book we have is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I don't know what this is about. A warm and uplifting novel about an isolated witch whose opportunity to embrace a quirky new family and a new love changes the course of her life. So this is a cozy fantasy about witches, I believe, and they try to, they all live in this house together. I don't know what this is about. It's a cozy fantasy about witches. I feel like right now is the perfect time to read all that, now that we're getting past Halloween. And you still, like, if you're like me and you still want to maintain those like Halloween-y vibes, but you're also ready to get towards the end of the year and just cozy up, I feel like this is perfect for that. The next book that I'm going to be reading is The Spell Shop. It takes a village to open a heart and just one man to steal it. This was a good place. It says back here. I'm reading what it says in the back. This was a good place with kind people who cared about each other. There was a unicorn in the woods, mermaids in the coves, and the best raspberries she's ever tasted. And then there was Laron. So kind of reminds me of like The Phoenix Keeper. Seems like, I think this is about a spell shop or like a library with spell books in it. It just seems cozy, nice, and I love it. I feel like that's going to be a very great time. Also, I'm finally going to get to this book right here, The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Everybody says that this is like the cozy fantasy to read. Okay, a magical island, a dangerous task, a burning secret. Everybody says this is like the king, the queen, the royal highness of cozy fantasy. So because this is such a staple cozy fantasy book, I've had this book on my shelf for like a year or two now. I really wanted to read it, so I'm really hoping that I can get to it as well. And I believe there's also a LGBTQIA plus themed romance as well. That seems to also be a theme that I'm going for this month, unintentionally. I just want me some LGBTQIA romances. And then lastly, but certainly not least, I'm finally going to get to, or try to get to, Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. This is book 2 in the Emily Wilde series. Last year I read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I loved it. so much. Okay, another one of my first cozy fantasies, and between that one and Legends and Lattes, I realized that cozy fantasy is just a genre that I just enjoy when I want to just relax, because it's not too intense, there's not too much going on, but at the same time it's still very entertaining and just beautifully written. So I can't wait to get to this one. If you guys don't know, the first book we are following Emily Wilde, and she is basically writing an encyclopedia of fairies, and she like is going to this, she's trying to find like these hidden fairies, and these fairies are not like the fairies that we typically see in other books where they're like these beautiful, luscious, sexy beings. No, these fairies tend to be very creepy looking. They want nothing to do with humans for the most part. It's a very different take than what I'm used to when it comes to romanticies with fairies in them. So I really liked that, and so I'm very excited to get to this one. So that's it for my cozy fantasy TBR. Let's get to my next reading vlog, which is trying to finish all of the books, 24 books. I don't know what I'm going to title it. Something about like, I had 24 books that I wanted to read in 2024. I have like a list here. I'll post a video of all the books that I wanted to read in 2024. I have not finished all of those books, so I'm going to try to get through as many as possible, and that includes these books here. So we have one, The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. This was in a previous TBR of mine, and we're going to have it in our TBR once more. Hopefully we can finally get to it this month. This is a 1001 Nights retelling. That's all I know about it, that it's also high fantasy, and that's all I need to know about it, because 1001 Nights is like a very amazing fairy tale that I know that a lot of people have a lot of retellings of 1001 Nights, and it's one of those like fairy tales that I grew up knowing and I really enjoyed. So I feel like this is going to be a good one. The next two that I plan on reading is Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent and The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. Because we are about to get the third installments in the Crowns of Nyaxia series, I really want to read these. That way I can get to the third book. And this is a prequel before Serpent and the Wings of Night, and this is book 2 in Rain and I forgot the girl's name, Oraya's story. So if you guys don't know, Serpent and the Wings of Night is basically a kind of like a fight to the death, like Hunger Games-ish sort of vibe, but there's vampires. They're all vampires, and then if they win, they get like a wish granted from like their goddess. And our main character, Oraya, she's the only human that is participating in these trials, but she was raised by vampires. And so she's trying to get her wish granted, and then she gets the help of another vampire named Rain, and it is their love story, their tragedy, there's just so much that happened in that book. I think I rated that one like 4 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy it. It didn't quite make the 5-star mark for me, but it was a very enjoyable story. I've heard mixed things about the second book. We shall see, but Six Scorched Roses, I know everybody says is amazing. This is a prequel, but I heard that it's best to read it in between the first and the second book. And then this book concludes Rain and Oraya's story, and then the next book in the series is going to be following a different set of vampires, I believe, and 2 different main characters. So I can't wait to get to that one. So that's it for those 2 reading vlogs. Let's get to, I'll show you the mangas and the graphic novels that I plan on reading this month, and then lastly I'm going to get to the 2 books that I just want to read for fun. So the first one, we have another Sapphic Romance here, but I want to read I Can't Say No to the Lonely Girl. This is a Sapphic Romance that my daughter's reading, and she loves it so much. This is about 2 girls in high school that end up falling in love. That's all I know about it, and it seems really good. My daughter really enjoys them, thus I want to read them. That way we can also find something to bond over, something else to bond over. I absolutely love mangas, and I love slice of life, so I feel like this is going to be a really good one to read, and it just gives me cozy vibes. And then last but certainly not least, I'm going to read these are probably not even in order. They're not in order, but this is a Heartstopper series. I accidentally bought volume 5 thinking I had volume 4 and I don't. So I have to buy volume 4 in order to read number 5, but we have 1, 2, 3, and 5. I just need to buy volume 4, so just pretend that 4 is here. So I want to read the whole 5-part Heartstopper series, and this too we are following 2 friends that end up becoming more than friends. It's Nick and Charlie, and it is their love story, their friendship and their love story, and it's just this just has like super cozy fall vibes, you know what I mean, or super cozy fall winter-ish vibes. It's just a cozy fun time, okay? Like Heartstopper the show is my comfort show, so these are definitely going to be my comfort reads. So that is so that's it for the graphic novels. Lastly, let's get to the 2 books that I want to read for fun. First, we have Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan. I read the first chapter and I was hooked. I wanted to continue reading it, but I had so many other books that I had for reading vlogs and things like that. But I'm reading this with my friend, and this is about a girl who has cancer, and she ends up going into the fantasy world of her favorite book series. But there's one plot twist because she ends up being the villain in this story. So good. Just the first chapter alone was like, oh my god, I was hooked. Loved it so much. I cannot wait to continue that series. And then last but certainly not least, we have Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. Everybody has been saying amazing, amazing things about this book. It is trials, right? Fight to the death, but in a haunted house. And there's spice. And a morally gray main male character, MMC. That's all I need to know about it. I've been hearing nothing but good things, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this one. Anyways, you guys, those are the books that I plan on reading for this month. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Thank you guys so much for, watching, and I hope, let me know what you guys plan on reading this month. What is the vibe for you this month? And please send me many blessings on trying to finish this TBR because there is quite a lot here. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!